Alright guys, so I wanted to sit down really quickly and reflect on last month and think about some wins, some things that I want to do different going into this new month of February, and also share with you some of my wellness habits that I'll be shifting a little bit, and also talk about financial wellness. I have been thinking a lot about financial wellness lately just because I feel like it's right up there. Like it's right up there with all the other things like our mental health and everything else. So I'm diving deeper into that this year as well. So let's go ahead and get into it. All right, but first let's make some tea, and I'm gonna do spearmint tea today. Y'all know I love this. I love it. If you want to get this tea maker, I'll link it below. Ooh, we almost made a mess. But if you want this tea maker, I will link it below because it is everything. Everything. All right, guys, I got my tea. Grab whatever you need, and let's chat a little bit. Alright, so when I think about reflecting on the month of January, I like to do something that's kind of looks a little bit like journaling prompts. If I don't journal it, then maybe I will type it out or just kind of think through it myself, and I ask myself several different questions. And one of those questions that I like to ask myself is what went well from the last month. So in the month of January, I kind of started to think about some things that went really well. I'll just share a couple of the things that came up for me. So in the month of January, I felt a lot of gratitude for our church actually moving to Atlanta area, and the reason is because we were watching online, and then they all of a sudden was like, we are opening up a new location in Atlanta, and we've been going since October, I believe, in person, or September, October in person. But it has just felt very different in the month of January. I feel like we were able to go a lot more consistently. We didn't have to travel on Sunday as much, and they're hosting like more events at the church. It just feels, in the sermon series was everything. So that has been something that's been going really well. We traveled some, did some day trips, which was nice. Staycation for my husband's birthday was really amazing. And what else? Oh, I have also started to get back into psychology research. I've been wanting to do this for a while, and the research I'm actually doing in a lab is similar to a lot of the clinical work that I do, so like working with teens of color or African American teens, and I absolutely love it so far. And it's a lot of like translating research for social media, and it just is aligns, and I'm very excited about kind of moving back into that, and also doing something that will also aid me in my clinical like work that I'm doing with teens as well. So I'm very, very excited about that. So there were definitely some wins for the month of January, and I like to just pause and reflect on it, and I wanted to do it on camera this time. So that was fun because it's so easy to outline the lows and the negatives that sometimes come in life. Also, a really good reflection question that I use this month or for the month of January is what was coming up for me emotionally. I also like to look at like what goals I accomplished and what goals I didn't accomplish, and then think about what can be a new strategy going into the new month. So for me, I felt like I did accomplish many of the goals that I had for the month of January, but I think what I do every month is I add too many goals. So my new strategy going into February is having like 3 to 5 goals that are like, I must hit this, like I have to hit it. And then if those are accomplished by like mid-February, then maybe I can add a couple more, but I want to be intentional about like not overwhelming myself with too many goals that I'm focusing on and thinking about. So now I'm gonna move into more of the strategy piece and some things that I'm really implementing to make sure the month of February I'm hitting goals, taking care of self, all of the things. And the very first thing is asking myself, what are my goals? Like really reflecting on what are my 3 top goals, maybe it's gonna be 4, but really trying to be intentional there and thinking about my goals for the month of February and making sure I hit them. So really making sure those goals are attainable is something I'm trying to focus on here. Next up is what am I decluttering? We actually did a really big physical declutter in our apartment in December, I think it was. We got a storage unit, so we got so much stuff out of this place, and it makes me feel so much more at peace. And now I'm moving on to doing like more of a like digital declutter. So I want to declutter my phone, my computer. It has a lot of just different files and things that need to be either put in a place and have a home on my computer or deleted. So digital declutter, and also just doing some type of like emotional declutter as well. And for me, that looks a lot like going to therapy. I started going back in January and I'm very excited about that, and just seeing if this therapist is a good fit. I don't think that it is, but it's okay. We can find a different one, but essentially I am showing up and I am going to therapy. So I have really been diving deep into financial wellness and like really understanding where every single dollar is going, learning more about investing, just really trying to learn and grow in this area. So I've been reading a lot more books. So I read A Black Girl's Guide to Financial Freedom last month, and it was really good. I read it like literally in a day because I was so locked in. And the next books that I'm gonna go into this month is I think it's Clever Girl Finance. She has a lot of different books about finances, so I will be reading, I think she has 3 so far, so I'm gonna listen to all of those books. I'm very excited about that. So for me, when it comes to your financial wellness, I think it's up there with all of my other just goals of making sure I'm mentally well. Financially, you need to be well. And as far as like some overall just wellness habits, I don't have to necessarily create new habits because I know that can be challenging to do. I look at it as like I'm resetting some of the old habits that I had that, you know, the month of December and like half of January we were traveling. It just felt like I didn't get my footing, but this month we are going to make sure we're falling into like those healthy habits again. Some of those for me look like being intentional about the foods that I'm eating, my nutrition, all of that. Like I do pretty good overall, but I can just see some areas that I'm slacking in. So that nutrition, making sure that I am moving every day. I recently started to go back to the gym and the sauna, and that has been helpful. I am also challenging myself to walk 30 miles this month. It's not really much, it's really like a mile a day or so, a little over a mile a day, and you'll be there. But I want to get back to the things that I know make me feel well, and like the way that I eat, also just walking, all of that makes me feel well mentally. So we're getting back to it. That I cannot talk enough about is working outside of the house. I absolutely love working in a co-working space. It is amazing for me. So my goal is to work out of a co-working space at least 3 to 4 days throughout the week. That's already kind of been a habit of mine since last year, but I want to make sure I'm staying on it. I can see how I can just, I don't feel like going or whatever the case is, but 3 to 4 days a week is what I'm trying to hit. And one more thing that I want to talk about when it comes to just wellness in general is just me being intentional about spending time with God. I am feeling a call to kind of go a little bit deeper in like studying the Bible and really understanding certain things and just wanting to read it from front to back. Like I used to didn't know like where to even start. Like, oh, maybe I should start here. Lord, tell me where to read. And now I'm eliminating all of that, back to reading my 1-year Bible. Essentially, you read a section of it every single day, and I find that to be very, very helpful for me instead of just like guessing, like, what should I read? Should I read here? What am I feeling led to read today? And then if I do want to read something additional, then I always can still do that as well. You see how like these habits are things that are already in place, but I just need to fine tune them just a little bit. One new thing that I will be doing though when it comes to studying the Bible deeper and really being intentional here is reading or doing something 3 times a day to kind of enrich my Bible knowledge, I guess. So reading the Bible in the morning, listening to the Bible throughout the day. I've been listening to Streetlight a little bit, and that has been helpful. Also revisiting my notes that I wrote from the morning before bed so I can just make sure it's sticking. Because sometimes I'll read the Bible, but then I'm like, 2 days later, I cannot tell you what I read. So my goal is not just to read it, but to really study it, comprehend, apply it to my life. So that's my strategy for there. And last thing I'm doing here, like just for my spiritual health, is being intentional about creating a prayer board this month. So we just finished a sermon series about prayer, and it made me realize that I have been praying a lot of sick prayers, and I've been kind of scared like to be let down. If I pray a prayer and it doesn't happen, then it's like, well, I'm let down. And it's like, now I'm realizing that it is okay if God says no, not right now, this is what I have for you instead. Like, that is okay, but it's my job to ask. And it goes a little bit deeper here, because I feel like growing up I was very intentional about what I asked for. Like, if something just seemed kind of like, why are you asking for that? I didn't ask for it. Like, I asked for the safe things that I knew my parents would say yes to. And I don't necessarily think there's nothing wrong with that, but I think I have to check that personality trait now that I'm an adult and I am in my quiet, like, prayer time with God. I'm just trying to be intentional about like really asking him for those big things that I know that he's capable of doing, instead of just praying these safe prayers. So we've been diving into that over this last month in church, and it really struck a nerve for me, and I want to make some changes. So that's why I'm making a prayer board. It'll be something I just make on Canva and revisit and pray over those prayers every single day. So at the end of this month, I'll let y'all know how that has gone for me. I'll also do my vision board like I usually do every single month as well, and it's a digital vision board that I make on Canva too. So I'm very excited. Like I said, I'm not creating all these new habits. I just wanted to revisit them real quick and be like, I need to clean some things up. I need to do some things a little bit different. All right, guys, so essentially I have all of this housed in some way in Notion. So from my habit tracker to my goals to my prayer board to my vision board, basically all this stuff I just gave to you or told you is inside of Notion, so I can just keep it there and it's not simply only housed inside of my brain. So absolutely love it. That has been working very well for me. And if you enjoyed this type of content, definitely let me know. Like the video, let me know that you have learned something, you take something away, and I hope that you have a very fruitful and amazing month of February, and I will see you guys in a couple of days. Bye.